I stood in the lobby of the Pearl District Tech Hub, watching the valets handle Teslas and Porsches while rain drummed against the glass facade. My worn Carhartt jacket drew looks from the crowd flowing into the building. 20-something engineers in company hoodies, investors in Italian wool, marketing people who all seemed to own the same pair of designer sneakers. The security guard approached. Young guy, professional. Sir, can I help you find something? I'm here for the Technova product launch. My daughter invited me. He glanced at his tablet. Name? William Foster. His finger scrolled. I don't see you on the guest list. Check under Sarah Mitchell. She's a developer here. More scrolling. Got it. But sir, this is a formal event. There's a dress code. I looked down at my jeans and work boots. I came straight from a job. My daughter said it was fine. Let me call up to the event coordinator. He stepped away, speaking quietly into his radio. Through the glass doors, I could see the party already in full swing. Sarah had been so excited about this launch. She'd worked 60-hour weeks for 6 months. This was her first major project since the baby, and she wanted me to see what she'd accomplished. I'd driven in from my apartment in Gresham, a one-bedroom place near the Max line that I'd lived in for 15 years. The coordinator arrived. Clipboard, headset, tight smile. Mr. Foster? I'm afraid this event is for industry professionals and investors only. My daughter works here. Sarah Mitchell. Yes, but family isn't included in the guest list unless specifically. Dad? Sarah appeared. My grandson Leo balanced on her hip. She looked tired. Beautiful, but tired. The kind of tired that comes from too many late nights and too much stress. Sarah, sweetheart. I reached for Leo, who grabbed my finger with his whole fist. I told you to come. Marcus must have forgotten to add you. She turned to the coordinator. This is my father. He's my guest. The coordinator's smile tightened. Of course, my apologies. But her eyes lingered on my jacket, my boots. We walked into the event space. High ceilings, exposed brick, Edison bulbs hanging in artistic clusters. Catering stations offered small plates of things I didn't recognize. A bar served craft cocktails with names like Cloud Algorithm and Distributed System. How's my favorite grandson? I tickled Leo's belly, earning a giggle. Your only grandson, Sarah said, but she was smiling. Then the smile faltered. Dad, I'm sorry about the guest list thing. Marcus was supposed to handle it. It's fine. I'm here now. Where is Marcus? Networking. She said it without inflection, but I caught something underneath. Disappointment, maybe. Or resignation. Marcus Zhang. My son-in-law for 3 years now. Product manager at a startup called Cloud Vault that Technova was apparently partnering with. I'd met him exactly 7 times, and each time I'd felt like I was being evaluated and found wanting. He worked in tech, made good money, understood things I supposedly couldn't grasp. Sarah had met him at a hackathon. They'd married fast, bought a condo in the Alberta Arts District, had Leo within a year. There he is, Sarah said, shifting Leo to her other hip. Marcus moved through the crowd like he owned it. Fitted blazer, no tie, expensive sneakers. Dark-rimmed glasses that I suspected had plain lenses. He was talking to a man in a suit, gesturing with a craft beer, laughing at something. We approached. Marcus saw Sarah first, smiled, then saw me. The smile didn't disappear, but it changed, became something else. Hey, babe. He kissed Sarah's cheek, ruffled Leo's hair. Didn't expect to see your dad here. I invited him. He wanted to see the launch. Marcus's eyes flicked over my jacket again. Right. William, this is Derek Paulson, VP of Enterprise Sales at Technova. He emphasized the title. Derek, this is Sarah's father. He's retired. Nice to meet you, Derek said, shaking my hand. Good grip, direct eye contact. Likewise. What exactly does Technova do? Marcus jumped in before Derek could answer. We provide cloud infrastructure solutions for enterprise clients. It's pretty complex. Lots of distributed systems, architecture, containerization, that kind of thing. He said it the way you'd explain something to a child. Sounds interesting, I said. Yeah, it's definitely not the kind of thing most people understand. Very technical. Marcus took a sip of his beer. What did you say you used to do, William? Maintenance work. Buildings. Equipment. Right, right. So yeah, this stuff would be pretty over your head. He laughed. Not quite unkindly, but not quite kindly either. No offense. Sarah's jaw tightened. Dad actually... Hey, Marcus! A woman in a blazer waved from across the room. We're about to start the demo. Duty calls. Marcus squeezed Sarah's shoulder. Babe, can you grab me another beer? And William, there's a coat check around the corner. Might be more comfortable. He walked away before I could respond. Sarah's face had gone pink. Dad, I'm so sorry. He's just stressed about the partnership announcement. He's not usually... It's fine, honey. But it wasn't fine. I watched Marcus join a cluster of people near the demo station, watched him laugh and gesture and command attention. Sarah set Leo down, and he immediately toddled toward a table leg to investigate. She bent to stop him, and I saw how the blazer she wore hung looser than it should, how her shoes were scuffed at the heels, how she hadn't gotten her hair cut in a while. How are you doing? I asked quietly. Really? I'm good. Busy, but good. This launch is huge for us. And Marcus? How's he treating you? Fine, Dad. Everything's fine. But she wouldn't meet my eyes. I should go mingle. Are you okay here? Go ahead. I'll watch Leo. She disappeared into the crowd. I scooped up my grandson and found a chair near the edge of the room. Leo babbled and played with my collar while I watched the party. The demo started. A presenter walked through CloudVault's latest features. Something about end-to-end encryption and zero-knowledge architecture. Marcus stood at the front, nodding along, occasionally interjecting with comments. People seemed impressed. Then the Technova CEO took the microphone. Jennifer Oakes, 50-something, sharp blazer, commanding presence. Thank you all for coming tonight. As most of you know, Technova has been exploring strategic partnerships to expand our enterprise offerings. She paused for effect. I'm thrilled to announce that we've finalized our acquisition of CloudVault. Applause. Marcus beamed, shook hands with people nearby. Jennifer continued, This acquisition gives us access to best-in-class encryption technology and an incredibly talented team. We'll be integrating CloudVault's protocols into our core platform over the next 18 months. More applause. Marcus caught Sarah's eye across the room and grinned. She smiled back, but it looked forced. I felt Leo getting heavy in my arms. He was falling asleep, the way toddlers do suddenly and completely. I held him against my chest and kept watching. After the speeches, people broke into smaller groups. I saw Marcus with a cluster of CloudVault employees, celebrating. Sarah hovered at the edge of the group, holding 2 beers. She handed one to Marcus. He took it without looking at her, without saying thank you, his attention fixed on whatever story someone was telling. An hour passed. I held Leo, now fully asleep, his breath warm against my neck. People came and went. No one spoke to me except one kind woman who asked if I needed help finding the restrooms. Finally, Sarah returned. I should get Leo home. It's past his bedtime. I'll walk you to your car. We made our way through the thinning crowd. Marcus was still holding court. Didn't notice us leaving. Does he do that often? I asked as we waited for the elevator. Forget about you? He's networking, Dad. It's important for his career. And your career? She pushed the elevator button again, though it was already lit. We can't both be focused on work. Someone has to handle Leo. You're a developer. You worked on this launch. Part-time. I scaled back after Leo was born. The elevator arrived. We rode down in silence. In the parking garage, Sarah led me to a Honda Civic that had seen better days. The passenger door had a dent. One hubcap was missing. Where's the Audi? They'd had an Audi when Leo was born. Marcus had been very proud of it. We sold it. Marcus needed capital for CloudVault. He said it was an investment in our future. I helped her buckle Leo into his car seat. Sarah, don't, Dad, talk to me. She straightened up, brushed hair from her face. In the fluorescent garage lighting, I saw how young she looked. 28 going on 40. We're fine. The acquisition is good for us. Marcus will get a big payout. Everything will be better. But her voice shook on the last word. Does he hurt you? No. God, no. He's just busy, stressed. Once the acquisition closes, things will calm down. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to get back in my truck and drive to Gresham and forget the way Marcus had looked at me, looked at her. If you need anything. I know, Dad. Thank you for coming tonight. She got in the car and drove away. I stood in the parking garage long after her taillights disappeared. At home, I sat at my small kitchen table and opened my laptop. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of rain against the windows. I made tea, let it steep while I worked. First, I pulled up the acquisition announcement on Technova's website. The details were sparse. CloudVault acquired for an undisclosed sum. Integration timeline, 18 months. Key personnel would stay on, including Marcus Zhang as senior product manager. Then I started digging deeper. I still had access to certain databases. 30 years as a founding engineer and early investor in tech startups left you with connections. Even after retirement, I'd helped build 3 companies from the ground up, sold 2 for serious money, and kept advisory positions at half a dozen others. I maintained a low profile deliberately. Flashy wealth invited problems. I lived simply, invested wisely, and helped people quietly. Technova was one of my early successes. I'd been there from day one, writing code in Jennifer Oakes's garage back in 1994. I'd designed their core architecture, filed patents, helped them survive the dot-com crash. When they went public in 2003, I'd sold most of my shares but kept enough to matter. I still got quarterly reports. I could still call Jennifer directly if I needed to. I pulled up CloudVault's financials. As a major Technova shareholder, I had access to acquisition due diligence reports. The numbers didn't look right. CloudVault's revenue was solid. Growth trajectory looked good, but the expenses seemed inflated. Marketing spend that didn't match their customer acquisition numbers. Travel expenses that were astronomical. And there, buried in the operating costs. Consulting fees to a firm I didn't recognize. I wrote down the name, Pinnacle Strategic Consulting. A quick search showed a website with stock photos and vague descriptions of services. No client list, no case studies. The kind of company that existed primarily on paper. I dug into the business registration. Pinnacle Strategic had been formed 6 months ago. The listed owner was... I sat back in my chair. Rachel Thornton, one of Marcus's connections on LinkedIn. Profile said she was a brand strategist at a boutique marketing firm. Her photo showed a woman in her early 30s, professionally styled, posed in front of a brick wall. I checked Marcus's social media. He'd been careful. I'd give him that. No tagged photos together. But if you knew where to look, comments on her posts, likes on his, a pattern of check-ins at the same restaurants on the same nights. And one photo from 3 months ago, taken at a conference in San Francisco, Marcus in the foreground with colleagues. And there, just visible in the background, Rachel Thornton looking at him. I saved the image, took a screenshot of the LinkedIn connection, made notes. Then I looked at the consulting payments again. Pinnacle Strategic had invoiced CloudVault for $87,000 over the past 6 months. For what services? The description was vague. Strategic brand positioning and market analysis. I knew Jennifer would have seen these numbers during due diligence, which meant either she'd approved them as legitimate, or they'd been buried in a way that didn't raise flags. Or maybe Marcus had cleaned things up before the acquisition review. I made more tea and kept working. By 2 a.m, I had a clearer picture. Marcus had created Pinnacle Strategic with Rachel Thornton. They'd invoiced CloudVault for services never rendered. The money had been split between them, paid into personal accounts. It wasn't massive fraud, not enough to sink the acquisition, but it was fraud. Embezzlement. Breach of fiduciary duty. And there were the credit card statements. I had access, because Sarah had put me on her account years ago, back in college, and never removed me. She probably didn't remember. I rarely checked, but tonight I logged in. Charges I recognized. Grocery stores, gas stations, kids' stuff from Target. Charges that made sense for a young family, and charges I didn't recognize. High-end restaurants, boutique hotels, jewelry stores, all on dates when Sarah had mentioned Marcus was traveling for work. All in cities where Rachel Thornton happened to be, according to her social media. The most recent charge, 3 days ago. A hotel in Seattle, $1,500 for 2 nights. Sarah had been home with Leo that weekend. She'd sent me a photo of them at the park. I saved everything, created a password-protected folder, made backups. Then I closed the laptop and sat in the darkness. The rain had stopped. Portland stretched out below my window, lights scattered like stars. I thought about calling Sarah, but what would I say? Your husband is stealing and cheating? She'd defend him. Or worse, she'd feel forced to choose. I needed more than evidence. I needed leverage. I picked up my phone and dialed Jennifer Oakes's direct line. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. Jennifer, it's Bill Foster. Sorry to call so late. Need to discuss something about the Cloud Vault acquisition. Call me when you get a chance. I hung up and went to bed. But I didn't sleep. Jennifer called the next morning at 7. Bill, good to hear from you. What's this about Cloud Vault? You remember my daughter Sarah works there as a developer? Sarah Mitchell? Yes, sharp engineer. We're glad to have her. Her husband is Marcus Zhang. A pause. The product manager. Yes. I need to see the acquisition files. Full diligence reports. Another pause. Longer this time. That's unusual, Bill. You know these are confidential. I'm a major shareholder. I have rights. You have rights to quarterly reports and board minutes. Not to acquisition due diligence unless there's cause. There's cause. What kind of cause? I told her about Pinnacle Strategic, about the consulting fees, about Rachel Thornton. Jennifer was quiet for a long time. Jesus, Bill, if this is true, it's true. I have documentation. Send it to me. Encrypted. I'll have our legal team review. I want more than a legal review. I want a full audit of Cloud Vault's finances, and I want it done before the acquisition closes. That's a tall order. We're scheduled to close in 3 weeks. Then work fast. Jennifer, this is my daughter's life. I understand. Send me what you have. I'll call you back this afternoon. I sent the files and waited. Tried to distract myself with errands, grocery shopping, oil change for the truck, a walk along the Willamette River. But my mind kept circling back to Sarah, to the tired look in her eyes, to the way Marcus had dismissed her at the party. Jennifer called at 4. We're opening a formal investigation. Based on what you sent, plus what our team found digging deeper, there's enough smoke to warrant a full audit. What did your team find? More of the same. Inflated expenses, suspicious payments. Marcus was smart about it. Never enough to trigger automatic flags, but it's a pattern. We also found some irregularities in the codebase. Portions of Cloud Vault's encryption protocols look like they might be copied from open-source projects without proper attribution. Patent issues. Potentially. How long for the audit? 2 weeks, minimum. We're pulling in external forensic accountants. What happens to the acquisition? On hold until we have answers. Marcus doesn't know yet. Neither does anyone else at Cloud Vault. Let's keep it that way. Understood. Bill, I'm sorry. About Sarah. Me too. I spent the next 2 weeks being deliberately visible. I called Sarah every few days, asked about Leo, offered to babysit. She was always busy, always stressed. Marcus was preparing for the acquisition closing, she said. Big meetings, long hours. I watched Rachel Thornton's social media. She posted about a work trip to Portland. Checked in at a wine bar in the Pearl District. The same night, Marcus's Tesla was parked in the garage across the street. I knew because I was parked there too. 3 levels up, watching. They left together at 11, walking close but not touching, practiced at discretion. They got into his car and drove to a modern apartment building in the south waterfront. I didn't follow them inside. I didn't need to. I took photos, time-stamped, geotagged, added them to my file. Jennifer called on day 13. We have enough. Clear pattern of embezzlement, plus the IP theft issues with the code. We're terminating the acquisition and filing criminal referrals. When? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. We're calling an emergency meeting at Technova headquarters. All Cloud Vault senior leadership required to attend. Marcus will be there. I want to be there too. Bill, I'm a shareholder. I have a right to attend board meetings. She sighed. You haven't attended a board meeting in 6 years. I'm attending this one. Fine. But keep a low profile. This is already going to be ugly. I arrived at Technova headquarters at 1:30. The building in the Pearl District, same place as the party 2 weeks ago. But today, I wasn't wearing work boots and a Carhartt jacket. I wore slacks, a button-down shirt, and a blazer. Still modest, but professional. And I walked straight past security to the executive elevators. Sir, can I help you? The guard started to approach. William Foster, I'm here for the 2 o'clock board meeting. He checked his list, looked surprised. Oh, yes, sir, go ahead. 32nd floor. The elevator opened onto polished concrete floors and glass walls. Views of Mount Hood in the distance, the Willamette River below. Technova occupied the entire floor. Open-plan workspace dotted with private conference rooms. Dozens of engineers at standing desks, typing code, solving problems. Jennifer's assistant met me at reception. Mr. Foster, good to see you. The boardroom is this way. We walked past curious looks. A few people recognized me, nodded with surprise. Most had no idea who I was. The boardroom had windows overlooking the city. A long table, 12 chairs, projection screen on one wall. Jennifer was already there, along with Technova's CFO and general counsel. And Marcus, looking confident in his blazer and designer sneakers. He saw me, frowned slightly, but covered it with a polite nod. William, didn't know you'd be here. I'm on the board. His frown deepened. Sarah never mentioned. Sarah doesn't know. I took a seat at the far end of the table. It's not something I talk about. Other Cloud Vault executives filed in. The CTO, the VP of sales, 2 other senior managers. They all looked nervous. Acquisitions made people nervous questions about roles, reporting structures, who would survive the integration. At precisely 2 p.m., Jennifer called the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. I know you expected this to be a standard pre-closing meeting. Unfortunately, circumstances have changed. The room tensed. Marcus leaned forward. Alert, Jennifer continued. Over the past 2 weeks, our legal and finance teams have conducted a comprehensive audit of Cloud Vault's financial records and intellectual property. We've identified several serious concerns. What kind of concerns? Marcus's voice was steady, but I saw his hands tighten on the armrests. The CFO took over, projecting a spreadsheet onto the screen. These are consulting payments made to Pinnacle Strategic Consulting over the past 6 months. $87,000 total. Can you explain what services Pinnacle provided? Marcus cleared his throat. Strategic brand positioning. Market analysis. Rachel Thornton and her team helped us refine our messaging. Rachel Thornton is listed as Pinnacle's sole employee and owner. Our investigation shows no actual work product delivered. No reports, no analyses, no documented consulting hours. The CFO switched slides. We also found that 50% of Pinnacle's revenue was transferred to your personal account, Marcus. The other 50% went to Miss Thornton. The room went silent. Marcus's face had gone pale. There must be some mistake. There's no mistake. Jennifer's voice was cold. We have bank records. We've interviewed other Cloud Vault employees. We found email correspondence between you and Rachel discussing how to structure the invoices to avoid scrutiny. Additionally, the general counsel added, our technical review found that significant portions of Cloud Vault's encryption code were copied from open source projects without proper attribution. This creates substantial IP liability and puts the entire acquisition at risk. The other Cloud Vault executives looked shocked. The CTO started to speak, but Jennifer held up a hand. The IP issues appear to be isolated to code Marcus personally committed. We're still investigating whether this was negligence or intentional theft. Marcus stood up abruptly. This is insane. I built Cloud Vault. I made it what it is. You embezzled from it, Jennifer said flatly. And you stole code. We're terminating the acquisition, effective immediately. Criminal referrals have been filed with the Portland Police Bureau's Financial Crimes Unit. Technova will cooperate fully with their investigation. You can't do this. It's already done. Security will escort you out of the building. You're terminated from all roles at Cloud Vault, effective immediately. The board will appoint interim leadership. 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Marcus looked around the table, desperate. His eyes landed on me. This is you, isn't it? You did this. You couldn't stand that I was successful, that I didn't need your approval. I did nothing, I said quietly. You did this to yourself. Fuck you. Sarah will never forgive you for this. Never. Mr. Zung, you need to leave now. The guards moved closer. Marcus grabbed his phone and laptop and walked out, flanked by security. The remaining Cloud Vault executives sat in stunned silence. Jennifer addressed them. I want to be clear. Our investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing by anyone else in this room. Cloud Vault has talented people and solid technology. We're still interested in a partnership, but it will take time to rebuild trust and sort out the IP issues. The CTO spoke up, voice shaking. What about our employees? Their jobs? No immediate changes. We'll work with your board to ensure stability. But I won't lie, this will delay any acquisition by at least 6 months, possibly longer. The meeting wrapped up quickly after that. Lawyers exchanging information, executives asking careful questions. I slipped out while they were distracted and took the elevator down. My phone rang as I reached my truck. Sarah. Dad. Her voice was tight. Marcus just called. He said you destroyed his life, that you sabotaged the acquisition. What's he talking about? Where are you? Home. Marcus told me to pack his things, that he's moving out. Dad, what's happening? I'm coming over. Don't let him in the apartment. He lives here. Sarah, listen to me. Don't let him in. I'll explain everything when I get there. I drove to the Alberta Arts District faster than I should have. Sarah's condo was in a converted warehouse, industrial chic on the outside, cramped on the inside. I'd helped them move in 3 years ago, back when everything was new and hopeful. Sarah opened the door before I could knock. Leo was crying in the background. She looked devastated. Tell me what you did. I came inside, closed the door. Marcus was embezzling from Cloud Vault. I found evidence and gave it to Technova. They investigated and found more stolen code, fraudulent invoices. The acquisition fell apart because of what he did, not because of me. You're lying. I'm not. I pulled out my phone, showed her the files I'd compiled. Bank records, email screenshots, photos of Marcus and Rachel Thornton. Everything. She scrolled through them, face crumbling. No, this isn't. Marcus wouldn't. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Who is this woman? She was looking at a photo of Rachel Thornton. They created the consulting company together. They've been seeing each other for at least 6 months. Sarah sat down hard on the couch. Leo toddled over, sensing his mother's distress. She picked him up automatically, held him while tears streamed down her face. I thought we were happy, she whispered. I gave up everything for him. My career, my time, She couldn't finish. I sat next to her, put my arm around her shoulders. You didn't give up anything. You made choices based on lies he told you. How long have you known? 2 weeks. I needed to be sure before I said anything. 2 weeks. She laughed bitterly. I've been so stupid. You trusted your husband. That's not stupid. We sat there while Leo fell asleep between us. Eventually, Sarah's tears stopped. She wiped her face, took a shaky breath. What happens now? Now you decide what you want to do. But Sarah, you should know the police are involved. There's going to be an investigation, possibly charges. It's going to get messy. He'll go to prison? Maybe. Depends on the evidence, the prosecutors. But even if he doesn't, his career in tech is over. No one will trust him. She nodded slowly, processing. I need to file for divorce. Do you have a lawyer? No. I'll help you find one. A good one. I can't afford. I'll pay for it. She looked at me then, really looked at me. You keep saying you'll pay for things. Dad, you live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Gresham. You drive a 15-year-old truck. How are you going to pay for a divorce lawyer? I hadn't planned to tell her like this. But maybe there was no good way. Sarah, I have money. A lot of money. I've been investing in tech companies since before you were born. Technova was one of my first. I helped build it. I still own a significant number of shares. Her eyes widened. You're rich? Comfortable. Very comfortable. But why? Why live in that apartment? Why drive that truck? Why pretend to be? I'm not pretending. I like my life. It's simple, quiet. No one bothers me. No one wants something from me. Money complicates things. Look at Marcus. He was so focused on appearances, on status, that he lost sight of what mattered. Does Mom know? Sarah's mother and I had divorced when Sarah was 12. Amicable split, shared custody, still friendly. She knows I invested well. We don't talk about specifics. Sarah shook her head, almost laughing. This is insane. My dad is secretly rich. My husband is a criminal. What else don't I know? That's all the big secrets, I promise. She stood up, carried Leo to his crib in the bedroom. When she came back, she looked more composed, determined. I need you to tell me everything. All of it. What you found, what happens next, what I should do. So I did. We talked for hours. I showed her all the evidence, explained the investigation timeline, connected her with a divorce attorney who owed me a favor, helped her change the locks on the apartment. Marcus tried to come back that night, pounded on the door, shouted threats. Sarah called the police. They removed him, warned him about harassment. The next few weeks were brutal. The Portland Business Journal ran a story about the Terminated acquisition. Tech blogs picked it up. Marcus tried to spin it as a vendetta by Technova, but too many people knew the truth. Former colleagues started coming forward with their own stories, expense reports Marcus had questioned while padding his own. Credit he'd taken for others' work, inappropriate behavior at company events. Rachel Thornton disappeared from social media. Her LinkedIn profile went dark. Pinnacle Strategic's website came down. The DA's office filed charges. Wire fraud, embezzlement, theft of trade secrets. Marcus hired an expensive lawyer, but the evidence was overwhelming. Sarah threw herself into work. Jennifer offered her a senior developer position with a significant raise. Sarah accepted. I watched Leo 3 days a week while she worked. We developed a routine walks to the park, reading picture books, teaching him to count. The divorce moved quickly once Marcus's legal situation became clear. His assets were frozen pending the criminal case. Sarah got full custody. The condo was in her name. Marcus had insisted on it for tax reasons, a decision that now seemed grimly ironic. 4 months after the Technova meeting, I sat in a courtroom watching Marcus get sentenced. 5 years in federal prison, restitution of $230,000. 3 years supervised release after that. Sarah wasn't there. She'd said she didn't need to see it, had already moved on. She was right. Afterward, I drove to her new apartment, a bigger place in Northwest Portland, with actual bedrooms and a yard. I'd helped with the down payment, though Sarah had insisted on paying me back. We'd compromised. I'd loan her the money at 0 interest, to be repaid whenever she felt comfortable. She was outside with Leo, teaching him to identify trees. He ran to me, shouting, "Grandpa," and I scooped him up. "Court?" Sarah asked. 5 years. She nodded. Didn't ask for details. "Stay for dinner?" "Love to." We went inside. Sarah had made spaghetti, Leo's favorite. We ate at the kitchen table, Leo's sauce-covered face making us both laugh. After dinner, Sarah gave Leo a bath while I did dishes. Later, with Leo asleep, we sat on the couch with tea. "I talked to Mom yesterday," Sarah said. "She mentioned you're thinking about moving closer?" "Maybe. Gresham's fine, but it would be nice to be near you and Leo. There's a unit available in this building. 2-bedroom, good light. I'll look at it." "Dad?" She set down her tea. "Thank you. For everything. For seeing what I couldn't see. For protecting us. You're my daughter. That's what fathers do. Still. I know it cost you. The investigation, the lawyers, all of it. It didn't cost me anything that matters." She smiled. "You know what's funny? Marcus always acted like he was so successful, so important. But you actually are those things. And you never acted like it. Success isn't about what you show people. It's about what you build, what you protect, who you take care of." Marcus would say, "That's loser talk. Marcus is in prison." Sarah laughed. Really laughed. For the first time in months. That's dark, Dad. But true. We sat in comfortable silence. Outside, Portland glowed in the evening light, Mount Hood visible in the distance. The city I'd called home for 40 years. The city where I'd built businesses, made fortunes, lost fortunes, and made them again. Where I'd raised a daughter who was stronger than she knew. I'm glad you were there, Sarah said quietly. At the party. If you hadn't seen how he treated me, I would have found out eventually. Guys like Marcus always reveal themselves. Maybe, but you found out in time. Before he hurt Leo, before he took everything. She paused. You saved us. You saved yourself, sweetheart. You made hard choices. Left when you needed to leave. Chose Leo over comfort. That took courage. I had help. Everyone needs help sometimes. That's not weakness. That's being human. Sarah leaned her head on my shoulder, the way she used to when she was small and the world felt too big. I'm sorry I didn't see who you really were, what you'd accomplished. You saw what I wanted you to see. A dad who showed up. That's the most important thing I ever accomplished. We stayed like that until Sarah's tea went cold, until the city lights blurred into constellations, until Leo cried out in his sleep and Sarah went to comfort him. I drove home to Gresham, but I was already planning the move, already imagining Sunday dinners in Sarah's kitchen, teaching Leo to code someday, when he was old enough, watching Sarah rebuild her career, her life, her confidence. Marcus had wanted to know what I'd accomplished back at that party, had wanted to make me feel small, insignificant, less than. He'd never understood that the truest measure of a man isn't what he acquires, but what he protects. Not how loud he speaks, but how carefully he listens. Not the empire he builds, but the family he serves. I'd built companies, written code that still ran on servers worldwide, made investments that generated more money than I'd ever need, put my name on patents and products and platforms. But my real work? That was simpler. Showing up for my daughter, being present for my grandson, living quietly enough that when it mattered, when Sarah needed me, I could act without hesitation or complexity. Marcus thought success meant everyone knowing your name, your wealth, your status. I knew it meant something different entirely. It meant being there at 2 a.m. when your daughter called, scared and alone. It meant having the resources and relationships to help when systems failed. It meant teaching your grandson to be kind, to be humble, to measure himself by what he gave, not what he took. The rain started again as I pulled into my apartment complex. Typical Portland October. I sat in the truck for a moment, engine off, listening to the rain drum against the roof. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Leo wants to know if you'll take him to the zoo this weekend. Says he wants to see the elephants. I texted back. Absolutely. Saturday morning? Perfect. Love you, Dad. Love you too, sweetheart. I pocketed the phone and walked through the rain to my apartment. 1 bedroom, functional kitchen, view of the parking lot. I'd lived here for 15 years. Paid cash, never wanted anything bigger. Marcus would never understand that. Would never understand that true wealth wasn't about the image you projected, but about the life you actually lived. The people you loved, the values you maintained when no one was watching. He'd lost everything chasing appearances. I'd gained everything by ignoring them. The next morning, I called about the apartment in Sarah's building, put down a deposit, started planning the move. When Saturday came, I picked up Leo at 8. We spent 4 hours at the zoo. He loved the elephants, as predicted, but also the penguins, the big cats, the carousel. Sarah met us for lunch afterward. We ate sandwiches in the park while Leo fed ducks, laughing at their greedy waddle. I got the promotion, Sarah said. Lead engineer on the next major project. That's wonderful. You deserve it. Jennifer said you recommended me. Jennifer makes her own decisions. I just mentioned you're good at what you do. Still. Sarah watched Leo chase a duck, nearly falling in his excitement. I wouldn't be here without you. I'd still be with Marcus, getting smaller every day, not knowing who I could be. You always knew. You just forgot for a while. We cleaned up our lunch and walked Leo back to the car. He fell asleep on the drive home, exhausted from the zoo. I carried him upstairs, laid him in his crib, while Sarah changed into comfortable clothes. "Stay for dinner?" she asked, echoing the question that was becoming our ritual. "Can't tonight. Board meeting." "Oh, right. The secret billionaire has responsibilities." She said it lightly, but I heard the affection underneath. "Millionaire. Let's not exaggerate. Dad, you own how much of Technova?" "Enough." She shook her head, smiling. "One day, you're going to have to tell me the whole story. How you went from writing code in someone's garage to—" She gestured vaguely at everything. "It's not that interesting. Work hard, invest smart, live simply. That's the whole story." "I don't believe you." "Believe what you want. I'll see you Tuesday for dinner." I kissed her forehead and left. Drove across town to the Pearl District, to Technova headquarters. The board meeting lasted 3 hours. Strategy discussions, financial projections, debate about a potential acquisition in Austin. I contributed where I could, stayed quiet otherwise. Jennifer walked me to the elevator afterward. "How's Sarah doing?" "Better. Stronger. She got the lead engineer position. She earned it. Best hire we've made in years." Jennifer paused. "Bill, I want to thank you for bringing the Marcus situation to us. It could have been a disaster." "It was a disaster, just a contained one. Still, a lot of people would have looked the other way. Let their daughter figure it out. Not how I'm built." "No, it's not." She smiled. "That's why we keep you on the board. Someone has to have a conscience." The elevator arrived. I stepped in, pressed the button for the lobby. "Jennifer? One more thing." "Yes?" "That project Sarah's leading. Make sure she has the resources she needs. Best team, real budget. She's going to do something special." Already done. The doors closed. I rode down to the parking garage, drove home through evening traffic, made dinner, stir-fry. Too much for one person, but I'd have leftovers. Watched the news while I ate. Nothing important. Same problems as always, just different headlines. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this William Foster?" A woman's voice, uncertain. "Speaking. This is Rachel Thornton. I need to talk to you." I set down my fork. "I don't think we have anything to discuss." "Please, just 5 minutes. I'm not asking for mercy or money or anything. I just need you to know." Her voice cracked. "I need you to know I'm sorry. For what I did to Sarah, to Leo. I know Marcus is in prison and I should be too. And, are you in therapy, Rachel?" Silence. Then, "Yes," court ordered. "Good. Tell your therapist everything you just told me. That's where this conversation belongs. But I need you to forgive. I don't need to do anything. You hurt my daughter. You helped Marcus steal from his company. You made choices that damaged people. Now you live with consequences. That's how it works." "I know. But goodbye, Rachel." I hung up, blocked the number, finished my dinner in silence. Later, lying in bed, I thought about forgiveness, about whether I was being too hard, whether grace mattered more than justice. But then I thought about Sarah's face when she'd learned the truth, about Leo crying because his mother was crying, about the months of pain and struggle and rebuilding. No, some things didn't deserve forgiveness. Some people needed to sit with what they'd done. I fell asleep thinking about the apartment in Sarah's building, about Sunday mornings with Leo, about the life I'd built not by accumulating more, but by protecting what mattered. Marcus had wanted to know what I'd accomplished. He'd never understand the answer. And that, more than anything, was why he'd lost everything.